The 26th session of the Human Rights Council took place from the 10th to the 27th of June 2014. It provided an opportunity for participants to address numerous human rights situations across the globe. The session was also the last for High Commissioner for Human Rights Navi Pillay, who ends her mandate at the end of August this year.
I have engaged with this Council over 6 of its 8 years of existence, and that premise has stood the test of time. The creation of this Council in 2006 brought strength and flexibility to the international human rights system.
She also used this opportunity to list upcoming challenges.
Despite early warnings, we have seen many failures by the international community to prevent conflicts and mass human rights violations. Many countries continue to experience difficulties in transitioning to democratic governance under the rule of law. I urge this Council to continue to maintain the universality, indivisibility, and interdependence of all human rights, including the right to development.
During the first week, the Council held panel discussions to identify challenges and good practices to ensure the safety of journalists. Speakers stressed the value of the contribution of the media and journalists to democracy and called on states to ensure accountability by investigating attacks and crimes against journalists and bringing perpetrators to justice. 16 thematic mandate holders presented their latest reports to the Council on subjects including freedom of expression, violence against women, to the independence of judges and lawyers, amongst others. During the second week of the session, the Council heard an update from the Commission of Inquiry on Human Rights situation in Syria as the conflict was turning into a regional one spreading into Iraq.
The conflict in Syria has reached a tipping point, threatening the entire region. We are now closer than ever to a regional war in the Middle East. Events in neighboring Iraq will have grave and terrible and violent repercussions for Syria. The international community, and specifically the Security Council, has yet to demand accountability for the crimes that are being committed daily against the Syrian people. Through their inaction, a space has been created for the worst of humanity to express itself. Syrians live in a world where daily decisions about whether to go to the mosque for prayers, to go to the market for food, or to send their children to school, having become decisions about life and death.
The Council also held a high-level panel discussion on combating female genital mutilation, discussing factors underlying this practice and the best approaches to ensure that efforts against it are sustainable and lasting. The independent expert on the human rights situation in the Central African Republic, Marie-Thérèse Keta-Boukoum, presented her report to the Council, noting that communal violence, in particular the anti-Balaka and ex-Seleka, continued. The Council also held interactive dialogues with special rapporteurs on the situation of human rights in Eritrea, in Belarus, and in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, who gave an overview of the steps he wanted to undertake, building on the work of the former Commission of Inquiry, which had concluded its work in March. The Council also held an interactive dialogue with independent expert on the situation of human rights in Côte d'Ivoire, who reported that the lengthy crisis in Côte d'Ivoire, which had been ongoing for more than a decade, was marked by political violence and the culture of impunity reflected by grave violations of human rights. Another panel discussion during the session addresses ways to prevent and eliminate child, early and forced marriage.
These are practices that very basically and radically affect girls and women disproportionately and violate their rights.
Each and every day, 39,000 girls are married or joined in union without their free, prior and informed consent.
During its annual thematic discussion on technical cooperation, the Council focused on technical cooperation capacity building and advancing the rights of persons with disabilities through legal and institutional frameworks, including public-private partnerships. At the conclusion of the session, the Council adopted 34 texts on a wide range of issues, including appointing a special rapporteur on the rights of persons with disabilities and establishing a commission of inquiry on Eritrea. The Council also decided to extend mandates of the independent experts on the independence of judges and lawyers, on international solidarity, on trafficking in persons, and on extrajudicial, summary, and arbitrary executions. Resolutions were also passed on the issues of the death penalty, the protection of Roma, discrimination against women, the possession and use of firearms, the right of migrants, and the protection of the family. Country-specific resolutions included those pertaining to the situation in Belarus, Côte d'Ivoire, and the Syrian Arab Republic, through which the Council members condemned the continuing human rights violations in the country.